So I was thinking about, how words are so important. We all know that in our lives, no doubt about that. Words are important. What we say, how we say them is important. The whole shebang is important. And so I was thinking about, I'm a person of faith. I don't shut up. But, if I just walked up to you and said, hey, Brenda, you need to know that if you either accept Jesus Christ or going to hell. I mean, you're not going to listen to that. Who's going to listen to that? And at the same time, if I said, hey, Brenda, I got something I want to share with you, and I started quoting chapter and verse from Genesis to Revelation, I'm lose Brenda. She glosses over and can't wait till I shut up. And I think that's really what's happening with us. We're not saying the right, impactful, snag and run kind of things. And so that's what I want to talk about today. We do have some ideas that have shot out from Jim Gilliland, some of the things that I'm doing, and again, I'm no expert. I am learning this along the way, right along with you. I've never done this before. I've never had to look for business before. And so it's a long and grueling process for me. But I can assure you that once we master these words, if we'll put the action behind the words, we're going to see the results that we all long to see. So it's not something we can just say, oh, we'll go out and talk to people. No, it's not just that. That's bad advice. And so we have to, kind of tame our words. So anyway, I put together a couple slides. That's it. And we could just kind of walk through them just to have some talking points, if you will. And, again, this is not about just Lynn preaching. It's about us all talking. But this is something that I have been using. I'm going to be, just so you know, I'm picking up the business directory. I got that 2016 Best of the Businesses in Loudoun County directory. It looks like it's a couple hundred pages long. I don't know how long. It's like one of those skinnier phone books you might have seen at one point in time. But I'm just calling business owners. We could walk door to door in Leesburg if you want. We can go to whatever, but the strategy is to say something like, just launch a new business in whatever. If right now it's Leesburg. So I've just launched a new business in Leesburg, and I'd like to introduce my business to you and to learn more about yours. And the best way for any of us to build our businesses is through word of mouth advertising, by networking with other business people like you. So I'd like to invite you to lunch. What are you doing Tuesday at 12? You don't say, are you available for lunch? You all know that. You don't ask open-ended yes/no questions, right? So that's a strategy. If you put it that way, basically in your own words, really just saying, listen, I'm a new guy in town, and I'm trying to get people to know I exist. They know what that's like. At one point, they were the new guy in town. And then if you drop a seed about, businesses need to network, so I want you to hear about mine, and I want to hear about yours. And then you say, what are you doing Tuesday at 12? So what are your comments on that? Yeah, we need some exchange here. It's not about Len just doing a whatever. You're all unmuted, so you don't need to raise your hands or anything. Just speak up.
Oh, Len, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. You're correct about the not asking open-ended questions. The yes and no. I got to learn to get better at that part. And what you mentioned there is you're just going to assume that they're going to receive our invitation.
Absolutely.
Which is a good thing. Which is a good thing.
Right. Always.
We don't give them that option.
No. You always assume, and if your focus is to invite business people, now you might say, well, why am I inviting business people? Well, it's not just, that they might look at our business, but we also have, an opportunity once they're there to talk to them about, hey, what are you serving in your office? What does your family drink? We have all kinds of, but the end to them would be, they're in business, we're in business. Jim Gilliland, I don't remember if he mentioned this last week on the call, but I've heard him say before that you heard him say his business card says CEO and owner, whatever it says, so that the people know that they're talking to the principal of that business. And he'll go door to door and do pretty much this. He'll say, hey, my name's Jim Gilliland. I'm a new business owner in town. I'd really like to spend a couple minutes with you, tell you what I do, find out more about what you do. Can I buy you a coffee? That's the way he's done it for years. Boom, boom, boom. And that'll work anytime. It doesn't have to just be for the lunch. So it's kind of following his lead with that, saying, hey, I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, we need to know what each other's doing, let me buy you lunch. Whatever those words are. You don't talk about what. Well, what is it? Well, it's hard to explain. I wouldn't ask you to explain your business in 20 seconds or less, so why don't you join me for lunch? You just kind of back away. Don't get involved in water conversations, and don't say words that people might construe as being an MLM or something. Don't talk about I have a business opportunity. That's, you can see that coming a mile away. But I think if we just address them business owner to business owner, and frankly, again, just look at Leesburg, door knocking in Leesburg. Dress up like a business owner and go knocking on doors. I think that that's a great end. And Terry, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, as a business owner, I think that puts me on the defensive right away.
Why is that?
Well, no, I already have a business, Why do I want to learn more about another business?
Yeah, but you're thinking of it as a recruiting thing, and I'm thinking of it as a networking thing. Listen, I'm new in town. I need to know people. I need for people to know I exist.
Well, I think in a networking event, I think that's great. But to go just to walk into the place of business and to walk in and find the owner there, that's a hit or miss, I think.
But we don't care. Whoever is there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anybody?
I'm just not. I'm uncomfortable with that approach, but
okay.
It works for some people.
Yeah, I mean, it works for Jim Gilliland, door to door for the business, But again, he has a card that says I'm the owner, and they'll say I own my own business in town, and I'd like to hear more about what you do.
Hey, Lynn.
Yeah.
That comment and that approach to me when I'm listening to you is you go in there, it's how you present yourself. It's not only your words you speak, but it's your presence. It's standing your ground in a kind, firm way, and standing your ground and basically letting them know, too, how excited you are about your new business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think if we stand our ground and not, because what I struggle with is I can learn the right words, and then they'll come back and say, they push me. They come back and say, well, what is it? Tell me what it is. And then I melt. I don't know if anybody else does, but I sort of melt. And I don't really melt totally, but I'm just like, oh, man, what do I say now? I haven't practiced that part of it. So that's kind of, but if you kind of go in there with authority.
Well, I think all of that, no matter what script or who you're prospecting, it's always about having that authority. And,
yes.
You're taking control of the conversation, not in a pushy kind of way, but to digress for a second, what I say when people push me, they'll all say, well, what is it? Then I'll say, it's like trying to explain the iPhone in 20 seconds or less. It's not possible. What do you do on Tuesday? You see what I'm saying? You just you have to learn rebuttals that you're comfortable with. Again, you've got to put your own personality in here. Like, this is a good example. This doesn't work for Terry. He's going to go on the defensive, okay? Maybe there's some variation of this that will work for Terry. But if he's never comfortable with it, it's not going to be something that would work for him, But if you're comfortable with it, it might work for you. It really does come down to kind of learning to tame our tongue, say some compelling words, and then figure out which one of these things works for you.
Okay, Terry, so Terry, how would you approach someone that you were going to invite to lunch, and you got a new business? Okay, you just started this new business, and you wanted to prospect. What is your recommendation on your approach?
Well, my approach, what I'm comfortable with, is being in a networking situation. I'm just not good going door to door and asking.
Okay.
I'm more comfortable in a networking situation where you're going around and you're starting to talk to folks, and you start your conversation, and to me it's less threatening.
Yeah, because
we're on the grounds now. He can tell me about his car business, and I can tell him about my business, and then say, well, why don't you come to lunch with me next week, and learn a little bit more about what it is that I do. I mean, that was my approach. Not.
Well, that's a good one. I mean, you heard me talking about, I just dropped the ball, but I think, visiting networking groups as a guest and then going back to them, I was successful in having coffee with a couple people, But what I did, the strategy there was, was mainly like BNI or a meetup, and with BNI specifically, I would say, I'd call them like a day or two later. I don't know if you remember me, but I was at your meeting as a guest the other day, and I'm not real sure that BNI is a fit for me, but I was wondering if I could buy you a cup of coffee and maybe you could tell me more about it and I could tell you what I do. I just don't know if it's a fit. Well, they're all motivated to recruit new people to their BNI group or to whatever group. What's threatening about that?
Can you hear me, Lynn?
Yes.
Look,
Lynn?
Yes. We can.
I'm on the phone. This is Pat. I'm on the phone instead of the computer, so maybe this will be better. I don't know. But I wanted to tell you that I did try something similar over the phone to some of the people there in Leesburg, and I didn't get one taker. But, I mean, I went through, 10 people over the phone. I didn't get anybody who would join me for lunch. But I did the next day, I dressed up nice, and I went over and I did in person, said yes.
Right.
So I'm saying I agree with you in that the phone calls don't work. I guess people are just so bombarded with all these other calls. So that doesn't work, but maybe in person, person.
what did you say, Pat?
I indicated that I'm involved with a group that is, we've just launched a luncheon on Tuesdays, and it's right in your area, and it has to do with health and wellness. I mean, I did say that, and you could be my guest. Would you be interested? And she said yes. So maybe, I don't know whether I should have asked, as you said, you probably shouldn't have asked a yes or no question, but I did ask that, and she said yes.
Okay, this was an in-person or the phone call?
No, this was an in-person.
Yeah.
Well,
in-person.
I
hear what you say about the phone call, but I also know we got to figure out the phone, because there are people, Jim Gillian's a good example again, that they're hammering this business out on the phone. So whether it's a luncheon or just calling them and a meeting for coffee or a demo, I don't know what it is. I'm going to actually ask him if I can be on this as a silent, participant on some of these calls. But I think it's all in what we say. Now, please, whatever I say about whatever you guys say, please, it's not personal. I'm not picking on anybody. But what you just said, I would never go to something like that. I'm involved with the group. I'm involved with a group. I'd be like, what kind of group? And then if you said health and wellness, unless I'm sick, I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm like, nah, I don't want to be with those tree huggers talking about GMOs. No thanks. I don't want to go. But that's just me. I'm a tough call, so I'm a hard gauge because I'm so tough, But I do know that whatever the words are that we each select for ourselves, they have to be limited, they have to be compelling, and they have to be repeated over and over and over again. And so again, like with Jim Gillian, I'll give you another example, Terry, that he does, and he'll pull a business card. You go into a store, gas station, whatever. He'll pull every business card there is, and he'll call them and say, "Hey, man, I got your information off of the bulletin board in the Shell station. I have my own business. Obviously, you have yours. We need to have coffee and see what each other does." And it works.
And I agree with that. Yes.
Okay.
To me, that's a little bit like networking. I put my card on the board for a reason.
Okay.
So yeah, I could see doing that.
You just can't see the door-to-door part or the door-to-door with the lunch part. What part's not working?
It's the cold calling.
Okay. Okay.
If I put my business card on the board, I'm kind of in a networking situation. I'm looking for people to call me.
Okay.
And
okay.
So I would be, but there's not going to be one thing that fits everybody.
Well,
approach.
I feel like that business directory, I feel the same way about that as I do the business card. You put yourself out there. You listed yourself as a business. You paid to be in the directory, so why wouldn't you want a phone call?
That's a good way to look at it, Lynn. I know that sounds crazy, but I haven't never actually taken the approach of making calls from a business directory, and what you just said about, you're right. I'm in the business directory, and I'm looking forward to that phone call from someone. I didn't think of it that way, but that's true. So they welcome, already when you call someone like that, they're welcoming your call. It's a good point.
Well, like Terry said, they put themselves out there. They put themselves out. And we live in a different world today, like realtors forever, they cold called everybody, but now you got do not call list and everything else. Unless they put themselves out there, we can't just dial for dollars. But you can rest assured, when we're, again, talking to Jim Gilliland last week, the day before our call, I don't remember what he said on our call, but the day before our call, he was targeted to make 40 phone calls. Well, he ain't just going out in the parking lot and coming up with, he's got something. He's dialing for dollars with something. And so we've got to figure out, if we need to reach for example, the 1,200, like we talked about on the call, we've got to figure something out, that's fast and furious to reach the masses. So that's what this is about, is there's no canned anything. The main points that I want to get across to everybody is, stop showing your hand. First of all, if you show your hand, nobody's going to come, and shut up. We start talking about water, and if you could rewind the tape for yourself, you're lying there minding your own business, getting your hair done, and somebody starts talking about water for an hour and a half while you're trying to enjoy yourself. You ain't going anything. You would gloss over too. So we've got to learn to shut up. And also, to me, I was saying it on the call last night, we're not about selling products until we get over that and realize we're not selling products. We're really selling a life change in many different ways, and we can give it up. We're not selling products. That's going to be a slow-moving thing. And so
when you go on, you're canvassing the neighborhood, and you have a script in mind. Do you give them a card? What do you give them? What do you leave them with?
Well, there's another strategy that I heard. I don't remember what, I get so mixed up on what calls I'm on, but they were talking about, actually it was Tamia's. They were asking, do you ever go door to door? Residential door to door. And she said that, like in Pennsylvania, people go door to door and they'll say, we'd like to, we're evaluating water in the area. We'd like to have a water test done, give you some recommendations on that, and they go door to door with that. Yes, they leave a card, but they also have contact because they're saying, well, once they get a true test done, by the way, and once they get the test done, they can go back and say, in other words, the people are going to give you their info because you're testing their water, and they want to know what you found in their water. So, there's a million different ways to skin the cat, but it's not going to be just about our neighbor or our person in church or all these things that we hear, these ridiculous little things. If you're reaching 1,200 people, you're not just relying on your own little circle of things. You got to reach out. And we've got to know what to say when we reach out. So, whatever, this is one strategy, so we kind of kicked that around. We can come back to it as well. This was another one. This line, by the way, is magical, I think, anytime. And that is very casually say, come to find that everybody I meet needs one of three things. More time, more money, or better health. How about you? You don't even hesitate. And just stand there. It's a very awkward moment because they're just kind of trying to think through which one do I want to pick. And if you shut up, they will give you the answer. That's powerful no matter what you're doing to invite people or just to, simple prospect at the mall or whatever. It's a very, it's not an open, they got to tell you something, And when I learned this out of the Ohio group, what they would follow up with in that case is they would say, like let's say you said, boy, what I'd do for more time. There ain't enough time in the world for me. And then that person would say, you know what, I used to struggle with that too. But I stumbled upon a coach that led me in the right direction to settle that part of my life once and for all. In that world, when I heard that script, the next thing was, if I can get you on the phone, just a complimentary coaching, give me a couple times and I'm going to have my coach give you a call. Maybe he can help you too. And that's the way they get that third party validation, if you will. But in this case, you might use it and say, hey, I've got a business coach, led me in the right direction. What are you doing Tuesday at 12? My coach is
So more time, more money, or what else?
better health.
Oh, better health. Okay.
But it said very casually. That's one of my favorite nuggets I ever got from a call. Because you could bring that to somebody in a grocery line, and it's not offensive. You know, if you say real casually, you know, I come to find it, and then they own up to it. You know, when they give that answer, say, I used to struggle with that too, but you know what? I stumbled upon a business coach, led me in the right direction, and I have settled that part of my life once and for all. It's a beautiful opening line. In that case, again, they were going straight for a three-way. In this case, it might be going for the lunch. Thoughts?
Hey, Lynn. Yes. Okay, so I wrote this down. I know I can't pull the screen. I can't pull the screen up with your PowerPoint. I don't know why it won't come up, but at least I'm on here and can hear. Okay, so you say in a casual, and if I get this, I'm very casual about this, and I know I can do this. Come to find out, everybody I need needs one of three things: more time, more health, and more money. What about you? And then you shut up, right? So did I say the first part right?
Well, you're going to get a copy of this, but yeah, it says, you know.
Okay.
I mean, this is a direct quote from the people that use it every day. You know, I come to find that everybody I meet needs one of three things: more time, more money, or better health. How about you? And if you say it so casually, it just sounds like a friendly question.
Yeah, it does.
It's just a friendly question. And then, again, in that case, I'm kind of confusing things because I'm going back and forth. But in that case, in the Ohio group, then he would go right, you know, they're going to give you an answer. And frankly, when I've asked that question, most people, you know what they say? I need all of them.
That's true. That's true. They do, don't they?
Yeah, I need all of them. And then, you know, the strategy that they shared when they in the Ohio group was that when they say that part, you know, I got a business coach that led me in the right direction. I'll tell you, I settled that part once and for all. They go right into, I might be able to get you on the phone with this person. I'm going to try because, you know, it's changed I got this settled once and for all. So what time, you know, give me a couple times, and I'm going to give my coach a call and see if he or she would be willing to do a complimentary coaching just for you. Maybe you can get that settled in your life too. And what they do is the coach makes the call. It's not a three-way. The coach will call and say, hey, Lynn Gardner said to give you a call. I'm her coach, and says you want to get, you know, time, money, and health settled in your life once and for all. I think I can help you. And they go right into trying to get a meeting. They do a short demo. I want to say that it was something like 68, 70% they were closing with that strategy.
No kidding.
No.
Oh man, that's encouraging.
But it takes surrender, see, because what they do is they spit it out there. I'm going to get my coach to give you a call. Give me a couple of times. You know, they do it in a way that it's exciting. Man, if I could get my coach to give you complimentary coaching, I got this settled, man. They might be able to help you settle it up for yourself too. Give me a couple times. So what they've done is they've set an appointment for you.
Yes.
Right?
Plus, they also use the word complimentary coaching. And that's important because if you say business coach, not that business coach is wrong, that complimentary word means in a customer's mind, okay, this is free. They're not trying to sell me anything.
Right. It's complimentary, so it does have value, but we're not going to charge you is what it's saying. And then, but the surrender part comes in because it's not you and the coach on the call. It's just the coach.
Right, exactly.
It's just the coach, yeah, and then they go for an appointment. In this case, I have not tried this for the luncheons. It's worked well for me otherwise, but it's a thought. Anybody else have any input on this strategy?
Well, I think this is good.
You like that?
To me,
yeah.
It's less threatening, and I could be comfortable with that.
Yeah. I like the strategy a lot. Again, I haven't tried it for the lunch. But I can tell you, when you're just very casual, you know, I'm digressing here, but there was another call with the super trainer. I forget what company it came out of, but he did a special training in California. And he's a guy that, he said, you know, if everybody could learn to do this, everybody could make $1 million. And he said, you know, if you're going about, let's say you go into the bank and you're talking to the bank teller and they say, how you doing or whatever. He's the one that says, you know what, I got a story for you. You might say, Terry, what are you up to these days? Man, you retired, what's going on? And Terry might say, you know what, I got a story for you. You know how everybody our age is struggling with knees and acid reflux and everything else? Well, I found something to settle that, and I'm excited about it. So it's kind of like, let me tell you a story. You know how all the kids, they have all these problems? Well, I found the solution to that. And they just shut up. So there, I think the casual lines like this one, come to find that everybody I meet needs one of three things. It is so friendly if you practice that line in a way that's very slow and casual, just like you'd be having a conversation. They are going to tell you something, and it's probably all of them. I'm screwed. I need all of them.
So once you ask the question and you shut up, you wait for them to give you some feedback. That's
yeah, you shut up until they speak. Somebody's going to, you've done that in sales. You play poker. Nope, you do not speak. It's going to feel like 20 minutes sometimes, but it's not. And you just stand there looking at them, waiting for them to answer. And they're really thinking about it because, that's kind of an open-ended thing where some people come right out with, what are you, nuts? There's never enough time. I'm running to soccer fields. They'll come right out with it. But you do not answer. If they say, well, what do you mean? Say, well, everybody I've asked this question to needs one of those things, time, money, or better health. How about you? Ask it again. Just ask it in a very matter-of-fact way. They will answer you. And then the key to that is whatever words you want to follow, but what Ohio says, you know what? I stumbled. Remember that. I stumbled upon a coach that led me in the right direction to settle that part once and for all. I mean, if you're sitting there, let's say you're in the barber chair, Terry, and the guy's saying that, you're getting your hair cut, and he's excited. He just says, you know what, I found the answer to that once and for all. I ain't never going to deal with that stuff again. You're intrigued.
Yes.
What do you mean you found an answer to all that stuff I'm suffering with? And then he goes into, well, I stumbled upon this coach. He helped me get it settled. You know what? I don't know. It might be a long shot, but I might be able to get him on the phone with you, like a complimentary kind of coaching thing. He might be able to get your thing settled too. Give me a couple times. This is a very busy person. Give me a couple times. I'm going to do my best. What's the best number to reach you at? And give me a couple times.
Hey, it's the power of the pauses, Len.
Oh, big time. Silence equates to dollars in sales. I always, go ahead.
I mean, you
Yeah,
guys,
I was gonna say.
I'm having lunch now. Why don't you come along with me? Or
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I think real well.
Perfect. That would be a great way to put it. By the way, I'm having lunch with him on Tuesday. Very busy person. This person's immensely busy, but I think I can get their ear. Why don't you join me for lunch? That's the best shot. It's on me. What you got to lose?
Yep.
I like that. Yeah, that's something. So I can retool a slide here that would say it that way. That's perfect. The combination of the two.
Well, think about I like that too. I like that. Hey, Lynn, think about this. Let's see. You, Pat, Terry, me, Maggie. Maggie, you're on, right, Maggie?
She's not on.
Oh, she's not on?
Nope.
Oh, dear Lord, she told me she's going to be. But anyway, something must have come up. Anyway, okay, 5 of us on or 4 of us on right now. I just can't wait till we all get right now is our first run, so to speak. When we get this really down, guys, we're going to be so excited. I mean, I'm excited to have this first call. Talk about these scripts. Sorry, Lynn. I just had to talk about this.
Well, I got news for you. There ain't going to be another call. You got to fine-tune it and run.
Okay, all right.
We're not dissecting this. I'll add some notes and send this out, and then we got to get out and do it. And then we might come together and say, you know what, I tried that and it sucks. It didn't work.
That's what I mean. Our next,
together. We're done with getting ready to do something. We're
I get you, but it's still, if you go out and do what you send from this call and whatever we experience, share it with one another, that'll be helpful also. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to delay
by the way, I'm having lunch. Yeah, I love that. That's probably a perfect combination. But
Yeah, because otherwise you're starting to asking too many questions.
yeah.
What's your phone number? You know, when are you available? And,
well, I could see maybe doing both. You know, by the way, I'm having lunch with them. You know, again, you got to practice being casual.
yes.
You've got to practice it, guys, and got to practice shutting up.
Yeah.
And so if you did it like, you know, by the way, I'm having lunch, and then they say, hey, there ain't no way, Tuesday's my busiest day at the barber shop, I can't do that. Then you could go into, well, you know what, I'm pretty close with this coach by now to change my life. So
Right.
give me a couple times. And I think I can probably, you know, see if I can't get him or her to give you a call. Give me the best contact number, and you know, please, I'm really stretching to get this to happen. So, you know, give me some good times that'll work for you. So you could default to the other one.
Yes.
I like that. Everybody feel good to work with that?
Yeah, and Terry, you're so good at that, Terry. You're casual with people. I can see you being an expert in that.
Well, I don't know that I'm an expert, but I'm willing to try.
Yeah, you'll become one.
All I can tell you is when I first heard this, you know, I mean, some things you hear and you say, oh, that's an interesting strategy, you know, kind of intrigues you. And some things, at least for me, I hear and I'm like, oh, man, that would have worked on me. And that was one of those, oh, mans, that would have worked on me. Somebody said that to me the way I heard the guy in Ohio say it, very casually. I wouldn't have even thought twice. I'm giving you an answer because I don't know that you've got something for me. That would work for me. And so that makes me embrace it a little bit more, I think. But, you know, I always digress, and I only do this because there were some comments on the silence thing. And I want to share something with you. You know, when I was doing, you've heard me say, except for my builders and except for my, you know, multi-million-dollar properties, I signed my people up over the phone. And there would come a time because what I needed to do, it sounds crude, but I needed to cram down their price. And I needed to sell them on the auction strategy to bring that price back up. But they needed to buy in, okay? But it would come to a point where sometimes people would say, well, I'm not going to give you that kind of price as a starting bid. You know, I'm just not going to do it. But I'd already found out what their motivation was. You know, their husband's been transferred to California. They're getting a divorce. They already bought a new home. Whatever it is, I already knew all that stuff. And I would say, well, what, you know, so what are you going to do if it doesn't sell? And I would shut up. And I'm telling you, it felt like an hour and a half sometimes. I would shut up. What are you going to do if it doesn't sell? And they would come back with, it's got to sell. And I would go right back where we started from, trying to get the numbers. When you shut up, it's horribly uncomfortable.
Yes.
It's terrible. And you're going to have to exercise self-control because you're going to want to fill in. So what do you think? You're going to, well, did you hear my question? You're going to want to fill it in because you're uncomfortable. But you have to shut up. When you do, somebody's going to speak. And it isn't going to be you. And so that is the most powerful tool in sales, is learning to shut up. Ask a question and shut up. Everybody good with that one?
Yes, you're so right. I know that's my biggest mistake. I talk too much.
Absolutely. We all do it. We all do it. That's why it's got to be, come up with your words, your strategy, short and sweet. Understand what not to say. And then come up with some script variation that works for you. And do it 1,000,000 times. You know, when I got into that auction, I didn't know I knew auction. I knew about real estate. I didn't know how realtors thought. I didn't know how to crank properties down, but I got on that phone day after day, all flipping day long. And I got to a point where I understood when I should put inflection and when I should shut up and what I should say. I perfected it, in other words. You know, we talk about people like Bill Gates or the Beatles, these people that are like the best in their business. They're not good because they were born good. They're good because whatever it is they do, they did 10,000 times, literally, until they perfected it. And so that's what it is for us. We've got to perfect it. So this is another one, you know, I've shared my business with you in the past. I'm trying to come up with something for people you've already talked to, okay? I shared my business with you in the past, but this is a rare opportunity to hear a presentation by one of our leaders. This lunch will be standing room only. I'd like to buy you lunch and reserve your seat. You can't miss this. Should I pick you up like 11:30?
Wow.
Thoughts? Well, Pat, you already showed that to me before. What would you say to that?
Right. Well, I guess in this case, I would say that you haven't met my associate. I don't know.
Well, that's one thing. I personally might say, you know what? I did talk to you about it before, but frankly, what I have is so exciting. I think if I'd done a good job, you might be in a different place. So let me buy you lunch.
That's good, Lynn.
You don't have any.
You're right. Right, they may be in a different place because that's true. Everybody's in a different place at different seasons.
Right.
Well, I like that.
At this point, you don't have anything to lose. You've pitched them, and they haven't done anything.
Right.
So you've got to come up with some reason why they would, and so sometimes you throw yourself under the bus. You know what? What I got is so exciting that if I'd explained it the right way, you'd be in a different place. You don't say, I think you would have bought by now. I think you would have spent $4 grand by now. You say, you know what? I think you'd be in a different place. So let me buy you lunch.
Yeah. I like that.
Wow.
You like that?
Yeah.
I do like that. I do like that.
I mean,
I
'cause
like that a lot.
how many people have we gone to and we've messed up on already, you know?
Oh, hundreds.
Yeah, we screwed up.
Or you can say something like, hey, okay, I'll use one of my family members, okay, for an example. Oh, I've heard that before, you know, when you're invited to lunch. Oh, I've heard that. You're just trying to sell me. You know, I could say something like, okay, I can't sell you. I've explained it to you. Let someone else who's an expert show you something different that maybe I didn't, or something like that.
You're saying the same thing, but you need to say it in a different way. As family members, you might have to just walk away from, but you're saying to say, oh yeah, Brenda, you know, whatever. You're saying it in a too casual a way. You're saying, you know,
Okay.
you've got to be upbeat. You know what? What I have is so profound that I believe if I had, you know, shared it with you correctly, you'd be in a different place right now. This person's a leader in our industry. You know, you can't miss it. It's going to be fun. It's great lunch. I'll pick you up at 11:30.
That's good. See how she can think on her feet, guys? That's good, Lynn.
You see what I'm saying? But it's a practicing, you know. It's a practicing. I can't say that enough because what we do have, it is exciting. You want to start talking about, you know, Jack's, you know, diverticulitis in my back, and those things are exciting. But we can't do it. We've got to get people in there. And then, you know, hopefully, I think that Terry hasn't seen it yet, but I really think that I have zoned in on the right presentation for whoever shows up. I really do. I think that's the right presentation. So I don't think anybody's going to go out there disappointed. They might, you know, we'll see. We'll give it our best shot, right? But, right, how many people have we screwed up on? You know, some of them I've gone back to, I haven't been able to recover them. They think I'm a nutcase. These are people that said, Lynn, what are you doing? I mean, you're like a leader in the auction industry. Now you're trying to throw water at me. What are you doing?
Oh, gosh.
It's
You wanna
terrible. It's
throw a glass of water in her face, don't you?
well, the sad thing is those very people, and I approached them the right way, some of them would be on board and they'd be hitting it hard. But I didn't.
Gotcha.
I poured water on them. And so, you know, one by one, I've tried to recover them and get them on a three-way or something. So far, you know, I got a little hope with a couple of them, but I messed it up. We all mess it up. And what we're told is get out there and talk to people. No, that's BS. That's not all we do. You can't just get out there and talk to people or you're going to say the wrong things. It's a trained tongue.
I have another question for you, Lynn. I don't know if the lady that was there at the luncheon, who seemed very knowledgeable, the one from Russia.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to follow up with her more. I mean, she said she was going to be busy, so I told her I'd call her this week. What would you say as a follow-up to that?
Well, with
Already
her,
heard it.
with her, I think it's a whole different strategy because she knows everything. She thinks she knows everything. She thinks she's doing everything. And so what I would do is say, you know what, I'm doing a follow-up. Sorry I didn't get with you a little bit sooner, but you know, I told you that I would come by and test your water. What day works? Because that gets you back in her door.
Right.
It gets you back in the door. And we did talk about that. So that's a good excuse to get back in the door.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think, the more, you know, I have been pulled around, confused, and turned 6 ways. I'm my own worst enemy. But as much as I say, man, I'm building some business online, and much as I say I'm going to dial for dollars, I think we need every part of this. And we still need to give away water every once in a while because that gives us a chance to follow up. Well, giving away water is not about, oh, I think your cancer will go away. Giving away water is that I know every second day I can get in your face and I can talk about what I have. Every second day. In fact,
I think there's a lot of different ways. I took water. We did a wedding last Saturday.
uh-huh.
I took Kangen water for the staff.
Awesome.
I have 2 of them. Want to know more about it?
Wow.
There's just, I mean, well, they've heard about me talking about it.
Right.
They drank it and they want to know more about it.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a combination of everything.
Yes.
And you know, like the luncheons, we're not completely following what they're doing across the country because what they're doing is everybody that shows up gets a gallon of water. They don't get a gallon of water because we think they're going to be healed overnight. They get a gallon of water because the expectation is in 2 days that electrical charge is gone and we need to get back together. So it gives you a chance to keep working them. So I think when we step away and say, oh, no, I'm never giving away water, we're foolish. And I know you've heard me say some things like that, but the bottom line is it's a way to close them. Especially if you bring them to lunch. You bring them to lunch, they say thank you, they burp, they go out the door, and we never get them back. But if we have that water thing going on, you know, this is complimentary, and we'd like to replenish that complimentary in a couple of days and get that information and get it to them. But that's great, Terry. It's absolutely, I think it's a combination of everything.
Yes.
Okay, I don't even know if I have any more. No, that was it for me that I wrote up. Jim Gilliland talked about one of the things that he says, and I'll come up with some more slides, by the way, and send them, but it was something like, I represent a Japanese company with a 42-year-old technology that transforms your tap water into healthy drinking water, and I teach people how to make money with it. That's what he says.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have that written down, Lynn?
Well, I'll write it down, but you're going to get this recording, so you'll have that, you know.
Okay, then I'll have it.
But that's pretty much what he says when he's out there looking for business people.
And Lynn, I think for some of these to work, you really have to talk to a lot of people. You said that Jim was going to call 40 people that day, one day?
Yeah.
Well, you have to call 40 people a day to get, what, 2 or 3 or 4 yeses?
Yeah.
So it's a numbers game, you know, in a lot of the situations. We just can't do 5 or 6. Oh, doesn't work.
Oh no, you're right. It's that. Yeah, that's where we have to suck it up and not get discouraged because it is a numbers game, and more people are going to say no than say yes. I mean, look at that guy, the quote that I gave, 1,200 people he told his business, you know, to, and how many signed up? 300. And you know, Terry, that was Amway, so 300 people said, yeah, I'll order soap suds from myself.
Yeah.
That's only 300 out of 12, so 25% of the people he talked to agreed to at least sign up once, auto ship.
Yeah.
and that dwindles down. And so that's why it's important. You know, I don't know. I wish I tracked it, to be honest with you, in the early days of auction where, you know, I would get out, I would be pitching it, trying to perfect it. I don't, if I sold and settled 5,000, you have any idea how many people I must have talked to?
Oh,
But I do know, and this wasn't the day of the webinar, man. This was call after call after call, and that's where I learned to have to work on the inflection. Every flipping time you heard me, I sounded just as excited as the last time you heard me because I practiced it. But then as I learned what worked and didn't work and when to be quiet, when to ask a leading question, my ratio is huge. If they called to hear about auction, most of them got closed on doing it. And so it is a numbers game. We have to reach the masses, and we also have to perfect. And we'll come back at some point and say, man, I've asked this question. It don't work for me. Well, maybe you have the wrong inflection. Maybe it's something simple. Or maybe it just doesn't work for you. We're all different people. That one line that we're all grasping onto, I think works for everybody if you practice it. You know, I come to find everybody I talk to needs one of three things. You practice how you say it, and that is a very captivating line. They will answer you. So we have a luncheon coming up on Tuesday. And here it is Wednesday. By the way, it's not too short a notice. I know people were complaining about that when you're working these things all over the country, and they work week to week. In fact, some of them work 2 days to 2 days, Tuesdays to Thursdays. So it's not that we're out of time, but we have to narrow something down and get busy. We need that room as filled up as we can get it on Tuesday. Because once people see the masses excite the masses. And there's going to be somebody that shows up and say, man, I wish my mom could see this. Oh my goodness, I wish my sister could see this. And what do we do with those things? If the sister's close by, we get her to lunch next week. What if she's in Pennsylvania? We do a three-way. So the more people we get in there, it's just like Monday nights at the house when we'd have a full house. It was motivating. We got to fill it up. Any final comments, questions, or has this been helpful?
Lynn, very helpful. I appreciate everything you said. I've taken some good notes, and we have to get busy, that's all, and do it.
Yes, we do. Anything in closing, Terry or Brenda?
No, I thought it was a good session. Really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. So it's recorded. I'll get it decoded and sent out to you guys. As you can see from the invite, I wasn't taking it up line, cross line, or any line. This is just for us. Let's get out here and master this thing, and then everybody can follow the leaders. Okay? Brenda, anything in closing, or did I lose you? Okay, I think that's it, guys. So I'm going to end the call. Again, I'll email it out to you guys, and then, you know, feel free to feedback online, or excuse me, email, or give me a call, or whatever. The important thing is, let's get this stinking thing figured out and get to the masses, okay? So I hope this is my last call for the day. Until I got to get dialing for dollars doing something else. So I'll see you guys later, okay?
All right, thank you.
God bless.
You bet.